Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What is up, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. I'm Brandon Benefield, alongside the great Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. We are V3, and we are back after finally coming back to the action building for SHW49. And tonight, we can give you the big recap of a major show. After, what was it, 60 days off? 2 months away from the action building. Man, it was just too long. But finally, we were back. And Jake the Snake Roberts, his first time as the matchmaker. And boy, did he show up and show out for his first time putting the card together, because what a massive card it was.
Zoom or via
Skype.
What did you do? Skype.
It was Skype,
I say showed up and showed out. I should say showed up via Skype and showed out per the card that he laid out for us. But man, I tell you what, it was awesome. But before we delve into that too much, how's your week been, guys?
Man, it really does feel like this was the longest week ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Go to work, and by the time you get home, it's like, did I really just stay there all day? It's just too long. I feel like I hadn't seen you in 2 weeks already.
I know.
It's only been like 4 days,
know.
or 5 days, or 7 days, or however long it's been. I don't even know.
Yeah.
See?
Whatever.
See?
Yeah. I would dare agree. Can we just, I long for the day when we'll just be doing wrestling all the time, and then it'll be a much different world. It's a different world.
Hey, man,
from where you come from.
We're manifesting. Yeah. We're manifesting it.
It'll
happen.
Speak it into existence.
Well, I tell you what,
happen, guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But this card, when we say it was stacked, I mean it was stacked. We talked about it in the weeks leading up. We talked about it on the pre-show last week. 7 huge matches, 2 big title matches, and let's just dive right in here. The opening match of the night, a first-time ever tag team, Owen Knight, Najicism, 2 guys coming off of a crazy Southeast Best of 7 series where Naja ended up winning. Jake the Snake heard the fans. They wanted them to form a tag team. The Snake Man answered, put him in tag team action against a veteran team of the Washington Bullets. And boy, I was a little mixed on who might come out on top here, because you got a team, a new team teaming together for the very first time against a veteran team of actual brothers who've basically been a tag team since they were kids. And I got to be honest, man, I was a little bit shocked, but then I wasn't shocked because it's Owen Knight and it's Najicism. So anyways, what were your thoughts on the match? I thought for the first time they really pulled together as a tag team. We weren't too sure going into it, but man, they gelled and it really worked, I thought.
They did towards the end of the match. They did show that they still had a little heat between the two throughout the beginning of the match. A little confusion with, they're not normally in tag matches, so the rules of tag matches are maybe a little foreign. When can I tag? How can I tag? What does this all mean? It was a little confusing, but they pulled it off. And once they really, got their mindset right, we're a team. We're about to take, we're taking on the Washington Bullets, who are pretty much manhandling and just dominating and doing what they do.
Yeah.
It was not pretty, and crowd did not like them. Not like them at all. But Owen and Naj came away with the win. It was great. It was good. It was a great match. Great match, as expected.
Yeah, a fantastic match for sure. And you guys are right. We were trying to determine, okay, what's going to play out here? Is it going to be the tag team experience of the Washington Bullets, or in our fantasy booking mind, this team that we've imagined for the last 60 days? Wow, how cool would it be? Going back and watching SHW48, hearing the crowd overwhelmingly chanting tag team while these two were in the middle of the ring at the end of the best of 7. But then we saw the reality of it. And again, them not knowing the tag team rules was alarming, right? But it spoke to the fact that this is not the kind of team that actually sat down and strategized. This was not the team that said, hey, you know what? We're about to be a thing. They had, to your point, Diana, their own separate entrances. You know, I honestly feel like we still didn't see them gel as a team. I think they just both had a point where they said, I'm not willing to lose.
Right.
And so their inability or lack of a desire to lose is what caused them to really pull it out in the bottom of the ninth. Other than that, they were getting trounced by the Washington Bullets. So I'm glad that they figured out a way to come together. And as they found out at the end of the match, it proved to be pretty fruitful and prosperous by coming together and winning the match.
I will say that what was really cool about it was that they know each other so well. They were setting each other up for their moves and calling the moves for each other. Do this, do this. That was amazing to me, that they knew each other so well, like the tag team would, because they've wrestled against each other so long and so many times that they knew what was coming, which is, it's good. It's a good step.
And we talked about that going into the match, into that night, was the fact that, you know, guys like The Bar, guys like Technical Excellence, that were two guys that had battled each other many, many times and then came together and formed amazing tag teams. And as you alluded to, GB, at the end of the match, we heard from our new matchmaker, Jake the Snake. He Skyped in and talked about how great the match was. And not only that, but then he also teed up next month that they would become the #1 contenders for the tag team titles, and they'd be facing the winners of Sunny Days and Sauronaro, or the Hierarchy, who battled later in the night. And we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But you talked about, you know, they didn't quite gel all the way till towards the end. And I'm thinking, now that they know they have a title shot during this month between now and the next show, I'm pretty sure they're going to get together, sit down, come up with a solid game plan, and hopefully they'll be ready to go and finally get the belts off of those no good Dishonor. Anyways, but hey, real quick, just to rewind, I got too excited to get into the matches. I totally forgot about what opened the show. We thought the show was going to open right away with the tag team match. But
we did.
And Diana's even announcing in the ring the following contests, you know, and then we hear this music. We're like, well, that's not Owen. That's not Naja. That's not the Bullets. It's Corey Hollis's music. Corey Hollis makes his way out with a microphone. We think to maybe explain his actions over the last few months. And he did. He kind of gave us a few answers. Then he was joined by Judas in the ring. GB, why don't you kind of take us through how that opening segment kind of played out?
Objectively, I will say Corey was attempting to explain what this last year and change has been like with him being outside of the wrestling business. He went on to explain why he came back to SHW, saying that he did not want to tell his daughter that she was the reason that he didn't follow his dream. And so he felt like he had more still left to accomplish in the world of wrestling, and Southern Honor was the place to do it. He even said that, you know, all of the talk that he had previously about wanting to tear the company down was really not what he meant. He was really just trying to build it up. And I've been very vocal over these last few months, ever since that 6-person tag happened, that I've been very concerned about where Corey Hollis lied in all of this. And so here it is. He gave us this promo, and then he ended by saying he was willing to do whatever it took to win the championship tonight, but he would do it without the help of Judas, who happened to have been standing right behind him. It kind of made the waters muddier for me. And I don't know if we still have answers, to be perfectly honest, even by the time we get to the end of the night.
Yeah, it was wild. I even kind of in jest, I was joking on commentary and even after the fact that Corey was saying, I want you to stay in the back. And then Judas said, don't worry, bro, I got your back. I'm like, well, maybe he misheard him. I think he misheard him. He said, stay in the back. Not get my back, just stay in the back. Anyways, then Gunner shocked everybody, jumped in the ring, speared Judas, and then went up and confronted Corey up on the stage. Meanwhile, Judas sits up like the Undertaker, but in this case, laughing, you know, almost like Undertaker when he sat up next to Brock Lesnar. He started laughing. So that was like, we were kind of shocked by that. Like, wow, he just laughed it off. He just took one of Gunner's best moves and then laughed it off. And anyways, that was just to start the show off. And we were like, wow, we hadn't even got to the first match. That's supposed to happen at the end of the show. And we had a lot of stuff in between. So we told you about that first match. Great tag team action. We heard from Jake the Snake. Not only did he name Owen and Naja the new #1 contenders for the title, the tag titles, but also he introduced a new title to SHW, the Jake the Snake Legacy title, which will be coming in the near future. And we will talk about one man in particular who very much so put himself right into that title picture for the Legacy title. But that was very cool. He's got this custom-made Jake the Snake title belt. Oh, it looked awesome. So can't wait to hear more about that and see. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But after that that first matchup, we had singles competition. Ashton Starr, the returning Prince of Petty, taking on Hunter James, das absolute Wunderkind. And the reigning male performer of the year in 2022. First singles match, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And came in here and I would say put on a pretty good showing with Ashton Starr, but it's the Prince of Petty. And the Prince of Petty was in the best shape we've ever seen him. And I mean, your thoughts on that match? I thought it was a great match, but you guys, what you think?
Hunter James, again, impressed. He did not disappoint. There is a reason he was male performer of the year. He has the attitude and the presence and the character, and he knows how to work it. He was very good at his job. Ashton came home. The crowd loved it. He looked good. He wrestled good. He gave it to Hunter. And I'm not disappointed in the outcome on this one. I was like, yes, it was a very good match. Very good match. It was good to see Ashton back. Good to see him feeling himself with his new look. And I'm hoping he's back next month. Or is it next month, guys?
It is next month.
Okay.
May 12th.
May 12th. Sorry. May 14th. That's Mother's Day.
Exactly.
But yeah, great match, great showing for both competitors. Again, I'm continually more impressed with what I'm seeing from Hunter James. He's the male performer of the year for a reason. He's absolutely fantastic. The stars are aligning for him. I mean, shoot, he ended up in AEW this week, right? Like it's a special thing. And this is why we tell people all the time why you should make your way to SHW, because you are almost guaranteed to see these faces on national television somewhere. And so Hunter James showed us why he's that guy. Ashton Starr has made such a transformation. You know, when you come into when they come into the new year, and people always say new year, new you. No, this is really new year, new you.
New Ashton,
completely transformed body, Adi. Yeah, he's got all of that body. And then on top of that, he's lost a lot of hair, as in cut it, and just a whole new look, a transformed look. And it's really translating to his comfort level, work level, and experience in the ring. I thought this was just as big of a win. Whoever was going to win this match, it was going to be a big win. Given all that Hunter has done, given all that Ashton has done, massive win for Ashton, and who knows? I hope this means a full-time return to SHW.
Yes.
I sure hope so, because we have missed us some Prince of Petty. That's for sure. But moving on down the card, and again, I said it all leading up to the show. We say it most shows. Every match on the card could be a potential show stealer, and this next one may have just done just that. I'm talking about Dayway, Chip Day, and the Kinway. Okay, and I say Dayway because Chip,
I don't know if Chip's gonna like that. You better watch it.
Well, Chip had told me back in the day he formed a group called Dayway, and that's where the history first started with Chip Day and the Kinway. He kind of took the Kinway under his wing, kind of made him his bag boy, his young boy, if you will, and he called the group Dayway. Okay, so that's kind of where it started. And by the way, I just have to throw this out there. I was a big fan of the fact that he was introduced to the ring as Bad Boy Chip.
I was a big fan too.
Yeah.
I got permission.
Of
That's the
course.
best part. I mean, I felt kind of like, oh, I shouldn't have done that last time, but
I
got
love
the
that you
okay.
I love that you did it anyway last time and didn't
It
even
just came
ask.
out. I mean, look, when I first met Chip, I asked him, I said, how do I announce you? He gave me a list of names. I swear it was this long.
I
And
remember.
I
Yeah.
said it was 2 cards, front and back. And I said every one of them. And I looked at him, I was like, really? And then he cut it back. And
I thought
it
he
was
did.
just like,
I took
okay.
that as he did that kind of as a rib, and
I did
just
too,
to,
but he was
just
like,
to
well,
see,
yeah, let's show them all.
just to see who can I get to read all of these names, and then you did it because I think I want to say GB even said something like, you know, he's got enough. It was like a Walgreens or a CVS receipt or something
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the
I
list
could
of
have wrote
names
them
was so
up my
long.
arm.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, to give him that name and him perfectly fit that name was just, yes, it's a thing.
By the way, the long list of nicknames makes me think of Jaden Newman, who we'll get to in just a little bit, but he had quite a few as well. But anyways, Dayway, okay, Chip Day, the Kenway. We knew coming into this. Well, that's the thing. A lot of the SHW fans, I don't think knew. We kind of knew because we've heard the backstory, but there's a lot of history between these guys. Okay, and GB, you even mentioned it. You know, Gary was out kind of scouting talent. He was at the Southern States Combine not too long ago. He saw the Kenway and thought, this guy looks like money. I want to bring him into SHW. I'm not too sure that he knew the whole history with the Kenway and Chip Day and Murder One and Joe Black. You know, and a lot of the fans may not have known that either. But I think we did a pretty good job trying to relay the whole story on commentary during the match. But the history goes way back. And these guys, much like brothers do, and these guys at one point were as close as brothers, really lay it in and go at each other. And man, what a match these two had.
For real. I will say that it is going to be very important for you guys who do not know anything about this history to go back and watch on IWTV and listen to these guys do commentary, because the backstory is pretty amazing. And I had no idea that's what was going on myself until I learned. But once they got in the ring, the frustration that Chip was showing in his promos with the Kenway really came out. He really, really laid it to the Kenway. And it was almost like he was going to show him how he was going to be the Duffelback Boy again. Am I right? I mean, he was really laying it to him. Who slapped who in the beginning? Somebody got slapped. I think it was Chip that slapped Kenway right before the bell. As the bell rang, I think that's what happened. Oh my gosh, the whole match itself, Chip dominated. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a bad boy Chip Day fan. He did. He really took it to the Kenway, and then it got back and forth. And the ending, I won't get to it right this second, but I did not like that they went to a 15-minute draw. Okay, they did, but I don't like that happened. I really wanted a winner.
I love that you said, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, it was a 15-minute draw.
Right.
But no, and I totally agree. And my first thought, though, when it happened was, well, first of all, GB and I both said, oh, we totally lost track of time because we just were so into this. Yeah. But then immediately I thought, okay, you know what this means? We get to run it back because there's no way that both of these guys are okay with this being a draw. Like we got to see this again, or we got to see maybe a different match stipulation, or maybe an Iron Man match. Who knows? We got to see something.
I think it's got an Iron Man match in him for sure.
Yeah. Why not?
Yes.
Anyways, GB.
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. It was an amazing match, and for my first time getting to see the Kenway, you know, for as much as Chip Day did, lesser men would have succumbed easily to the amount of punishment that Chip Day was giving. So that says a lot about the Kenway, that Chip couldn't put him away, and that the Kenway would not die. He would not lay down. He would not give up. And so, we are moving into #FightForever territory, and I'm totally good with it. And if that's your first appearance in SHW, look out, world.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, I can't wait to see it again because, like you said, GB, we could have watched that one all night. I mean, they were just laying it in. Woo.
They really were.
And speaking of guys that can lay it in, okay, that just ties us right into the very next match. And that's the tag team title match. Okay, so we have the hierarchy coming to the ring. Now, at first, we weren't sure if that was going to be the next match because all we know is we hear Murder One's music and he's making his way out, and we know there's history with him and Chip Day and him and the Kenway. So we weren't quite sure if that was next on the card or if he was just coming down to, say his piece about what he just saw or what. But what we do know is that he kind of helped up and gave a hug to the Kenway, and then he kind of brushed off Chip Day. So not real sure what's going on there. Now Chip makes his way up to the stage. Then Joe Black makes his entrance. Again, Joe Black, there's not really any interaction there. There's kind of just brushed him off a little bit. And Joe Black, man, I tell you what, always makes an entrance, always has the coolest outfits when he comes to the ring. He had this cool mask. Just always, I'm telling you, you talk about him being like the did somebody crack a cold one?
Yes.
Or am I hearing things?
No.
Okay. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm not judging.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Ew, no, that's
Yeah.
Owen, so that's probably
okay.
a Coke.
All right, I hope so. Anyways. But
It
GB,
was not a beer. Yes.
but GB, you talk about Joe Black being our Undertaker, and that's not just because of like the respect in the locker room. I also think it's because he has one of the coolest entrances in all of SHW. And it's always a little different. It always varies slightly from show to show, but it's always gives you goosebumps. Okay.
It's a Joe Black cosplay for sure.
Yeah. So that was very cool. But again, tag title match was next. Sunny Day, Sal Bernal come out and talk about a match that had all kinds of screwy stuff going on. You talk about the WrestleMania match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and all the chaos that ensued. This was like there was mist involved. There was another person coming out throwing around chair shots. I'm talking about Carly Bravo. I mean, there was all kinds of chaos. The referee, I will say, gotta love Jeremy Prater. We call him the babyface referee, but boy, was it not his night. He took the green mist, the Muda mist right to the face and then right to the eyes. And then he got a low blow from Sal Bernal at one point. And next thing you know, he's being helped out by security to the back. And anyways, bottom line, those no good Dishonor members, Sonny and Sal, Happy Madness, retain the titles still. And but it was a fun match. It was a great match. There were so many times, though, when I really thought the hierarchy were going to win this match. And I think one of the biggest turning points, though, was when I mentioned Carly Bravo made an appearance. Not only was there a chair shot to Sunny Days, there was a chair shot to Joe Black.
Right.
We wondered after the last show, what side was Carly going to choose? Was he still Dishonor? Would he join the hierarchy? It looked like he had the choice of either one, and it looked like he's going to stand on his own, which honestly, I kind of prefer that Carly anyway.
Definitely.
So, anyways, your thoughts on this crazy tag team title match?
Well, not only did we think that the hierarchy was going to take these titles, Happy Madness also felt that. That is why Sal had to attack poor Jeremy and in the match in a disqualification so they could retain. So
and GB teed that up the whole match. He kept saying, "Hey, they're not above getting themselves disqualified."
They're not.
Yeah, they're
not, because that's how you retain when you can't get the job done. And I don't have a whole lot to say about this match. It was just a lot of going on. Just the whole new look with Sal was, he always freaked me out when he came out dancing and humming and singing and shaking the ropes and his leather straight jacket and everything. But he was a whole nother level of crazy that night. So I don't know. There was just a lot going on.
Which by the way, if you keep up, and I said this on commentary, but if you keep up with the NWA at all, the bald-headed Sal kind of makes sense if you follow along with what's happening over in that universe.
Yes, it's a great look.
Yeah,
it's definitely a great look.
I'll let GB go here because you teed him up perfect with the who he was resembling.
Yeah, he resembled a certain psycho killer who looks like he does everything himself. So read between the lines on that one.
Yeah,
it was actually scary how much, like, I started wondering, is there a relationship there that I don't know about? Because good Lord, they literally could be doppelgangers. It was kind of crazy to see. But yeah, we came into this saying that we looked at the hierarchy as the favorites in this match. And I think to Diana's point, the tag champions felt the same way. And all throughout the match, they were doing whatever they could to save their titles. And so they did. And the hierarchy did, in fact, win the match, but by disqualification, meaning that they would not win the tag championships, which to me makes me wonder if between now and the historic SHW 50, if our matchmaker, who has been watching the show all night, will look back and figure out how to right that particular wrong. And I don't know what ends up happening with that, but there's got to be another opportunity available for the hierarchy, because they certainly were heading on to win that match.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So we released the video online yesterday of Jake the Snake's announcement that he made at the show. So if you're at the show, you saw it. If you haven't seen it, check our social media. You can see the video again where he announced that Owen and Naja would be the new #1 contenders. And then, of course, he talked about the legacy title as well. And then earlier today, we posted the actual match graphic for the tag team title match, and it is going to be Naja and Owen. It's official, and Sunny Days and Sal Renaro for the tag titles now. But like you said, GB, at a future show, or maybe there's still time between now and the next show, the big milestone SHW 50, that maybe it's a triple threat tag match. I don't know.
I mean,
that was my thoughts.
It's the biggest show we've ever done. It seems like something big would be in the works.
Yeah,
and
who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So, and if not then obviously sometime in the future, because the hierarchy definitely deserves another opportunity here at the tag team titles, no matter who it's against, no matter who's holding them at the time. They deserve another shot, because a lot of screwy stuff happening in that match. And of course, Sal Renaro getting Happy Madness DQ'd intentionally. And yes, hierarchy officially won in the record books, but retaining the titles, Happy Madness. Moving on down the card, though, another guy we were super excited to see make his return. He made a surprise return at the previous show, but a return back in action, in singles action. That's AC Mack. Okay, former IWTV World Champion, co-winner of the Wrestler of the Year in 2022. And he was taking on up-and-comer Shoot Taylor, who has all the potential in the world to be the next big thing, as GB likes to point out. And speaking of co-winner of the Wrestler of the Year, we were actually joined on commentary by none other than the other co-winner, that being Nick Halen. Yay, yes, woohoo! That was so much fun. I will say, though, I did kind of chuckle when I was going back listening to the commentary, because I forgot that this happened when it actually happened, when he called us all by the wrong names. But anyways, real funny Nick. Real funny Rick.
Really?
We'll start calling Rick Halen. How about that? But anyways, talk about another great match. A card full of show stealers. I'm telling you guys, if you didn't get to see it live, definitely go back and watch this one on IWTV. But your thoughts, AC Mack, Shoot Taylor. What you think?
Again, a great match. I do believe Shoot Taylor is the future of this business and the future of this company. And he had an incredible showing against AC Mack. We talked about this in the pre-show. They had met as part of a fatal 4-way eliminator in another universe, and it came down to those two, with Shoot kind of getting the pin. But it's a different ball game when it's just 2 or 1-on-1 versus 1 and 4. And so it was a great match, a great match. And Shoot Taylor has nothing to be ashamed of. He stood toe to toe with a former world champion, with the highest ranked independent wrestler in all of 2022, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It was a great moment, and perhaps even greater, we got to do commentary with Van Halen. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't see no Van Halen.
They called themselves Van Halen. I mean, so
I'm pretty sure that's what Buff
God
Bagwell called.
bless America.
I think Buff called him Van Halen at one point, didn't he?
He did.
That's possible too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything to say about Van, Vic, Rick, whatever his name is, because I'm no Denise. Okay, I'm no Denise. I don't look like a Denise. They don't even sound right. No. Back to the match. Shoot Taylor, AC Mack. Holy crap! That was amazing. It was amazing. Shoot really held his own. AC did his thing. What else can you say? I will say this though. If these fans don't stop trying to body shame on my boy AC, I must throw some hands. I'm telling you.
It was muscle.
I'm over it. That's what I was saying. I was like,
Yeah.
it's all muscle.
Yeah.
But, you know, that is not cool, guys. Come
By
on.
the way, shout out to our buddy Pete, who did filled in for Corey for the ringside photos this month. But there's a great photo that was released, and it's you in the ring with AC.
That's
and
what I
you're
was
showing
saying.
him
I
the
was like,
guns.
no, it's all muscle. It's all muscle.
Yeah,
And he was like,
yeah.
hey, body shame. I said, no, it's all muscle. Exactly. So stop it, guys. Stop it. That is rude and disrespectful. And AC looks amazing. He's got an awesome new tat across his chest. Anyway, the match was amazing.
Yeah.
Shoot got attacked at the end.
Well,
By Vic, Nick, Rick, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Vic Nick Rick attacked him.
Van
at the end.
Hammer attacked him. It's unfortunate.
Oh, what a throwback! What a WCW throwback!
Yeah.
Van Hammer.
You know,
He was part of the flock, wasn't he? At one point.
at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, Van Hammer from Raven's
Van
flock
Hammer.
attacked.
He was kind of buff, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buff guy.
Yeah.
He's lost a little bit of height, you know, since then. The years do that to you, you know.
He looked a lot different in person. I'll tell you that much when he was at the
for
commentary.
sure.
I'm
That's why
telling
you
you.
never meet your heroes. you
Never
know?
meet your heroes. Exactly.
Well, Van Hammer was never my hero.
Well, you know.
Anyways, yes, Halen got in there. He attacked Shoot Taylor, which was weird because on commentary, he was talking all this trash about AC Mack and was kind of just trying to bury him as much as possible. And on the other side, he was building up and talking all these good things about Shoot Taylor. So I thought, if anything, after the match was over, or even during the match, perhaps, he was going to go in there and attack AC Mack. But instead, he pulled the old switcheroo on us, and he ended up attacking Shoot Taylor. And then AC Mack runs down and kind of runs off Van Hammer, Van Halen, Rick, Nick, Vic, whatever. And then
It's gonna be Rick Road for long. We keep this up.
I know. And then you see AC Mack and Shoot Taylor kind of, you know, shaking hands and kind of playing to the crowd. So I kind of look at that as a turning of a new leaf for Shoot Taylor, because the last few times we've seen him, he's kind of been like, I don't want anything to do with the fans, and you know what I mean. So I think he earned a lot of fans' respect in that match. And of course, AC Mack did come out on top, but after getting attacked and then AC Mack coming to help him out, I don't know, we might be seeing a new Shoot Taylor. Shoot Taylor. So I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go. I also, just like I said, I don't think it's the end of Chip and Kenway. I also don't think it's the end of Van Hammer, Van Halen, Nick Halen, and AC Mack.
Of course not.
When and where, we got to have a match there. But when and where that happens, I don't know yet. Hopefully sooner rather than later, and hopefully somewhere, you know, obviously in the Action Building at one of our shows. So, hey, and we already said what a big milestone SHW 50 is going to be. So what better place? So just saying, May 12th. Moving on down the card, we talked about this guy a little bit earlier. Bad news. Tattoos. Carly Bravo standing alone, getting involved in that tag match, not choosing to stay with Dishonor, not choosing to join the hierarchy. A man standing alone, and this time taking on a newcomer to SHW, a ring veteran, but brand new, making his debut for us, Jaden Newman, known as Mr. Scenic City, having won the Scenic City tournament last year. So he was no joke. No slouch at all. And this was another one that I said ranks right up there with possibly match of the night. I mean, these guys, here's one of those things too. When we see the match cards leading up to the show, we always see these matches that, like, I never knew I wanted until I saw it on paper. And this was one of those where it's like, because Jaden's never been at our promotion before. You know what I mean? I've heard of him. I've seen him do big things all these other places, but I never would have thought, oh, you know what would be cool is if we saw him and Carly Bravo. And then we got it. And we saw it on paper. Jake the Snake coming through with another big win here. And man, what a match it was. Your thoughts?
Jake's doing some scouting, man.
Yeah.
He really is. That's makes me wonder what he does have in store coming forward. But this is the one who got slapped. Newman smacked Carly at the beginning of the match. Start off over. That's
yes. So before you get into that, Diana, now that you reminded me, I remember because now we saw the fire promo that Carly cut on Jaden, but prior to that, Jaden posted a promo where he's talking about Carly, you know, because Carly's whole thing is he has to disrespect and he disrespects everybody, and Jaden was going to teach him some respect. So I was kind of taken aback when he disrespected Carly right off the bat. Because I'm like, wait a second. So he's talking about respect, respect, respect. And immediately before, like right at the beginning of the match, disrespects Carly with that slap in the face. And I thought, okay, maybe he's just trying to play his game, or that's a head game he's trying to play.
Showing, teaching respect by disrespecting.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, back.
Either way. Another wonderful match, another great match, another high impact match. They were so even, but you know, Carly's just Carly. Like I said, when he comes out, show's over. The Carly Bravo show is beginning, and that's exactly what happened in my eyes. I mean, Jaden was good. He was impressive. I think we'll see him again. I think he'll come back. I think he'll, maybe not with Carly, I don't know, but he could work at SHW. I mean, we have Elite, right? He can work at SHW. We'll let him come back. It is what it is.
I like Jaden Newman. I was impressed. I really, really was. I mean, it's clear that he won the SCI tournament for a reason.
Right.
You know, he's got the skills, and certainly outside of the world of SHW, the SCI is certainly a big deal in a lot of spaces. So to win that tournament says that you're really doing something, and he has done that. And, you know, to come in again, as I said on commentary, you know, if this were about a year, maybe 2 years ago, you know, and he had come in to fight Carly Bravo, this match would have gone completely different, because Carly Bravo would have just been glad to be here, just been glad to get the call. I'm okay being a replacement or a substitute, but that's not Carly Bravo anymore. And you're dealing with a guy now who doesn't just have, you know, experience in SHW. He's literally been all around the world. And now the latest of his conquests is Ring of Honor. And, you know, that is kind of really elite status, pun intended. So I really think that this version of Carly Bravo knows a lot of ways to get out of situations that perhaps people who have not had that kind of experience would not know. So for him to be able to outsmart and overcome somebody who's been in the ring 4 times as long as him says an awful lot about Carly Bravo. Jaden Newman brought it. He reminds me of a younger version of Kyle Matthews in terms of his look and his presentation, his precision, you know, but Carly Bravo's on another level right now.
Yes.
And he made his intentions clear, because before he made his intentions clear, I had my thoughts about what should be next for him. But then he grabbed a mic and told the world what he believes should be next.
Yeah, we touched on that at the beginning of this episode. Of course, Jake the Snake announcing that he's introducing the Jake the Snake Legacy title into SHW. And so very, very excited to see what happens there. And yeah, Carly straight up said, I want it. I'm coming for it. So I don't know how this is all going to play out. I don't know if it's going to be like tournament style. I don't know. You know, I really don't know. But what we do know for sure is that Carly has been the first one that we know of that just straight up told the public, hey, I'm coming for it. It's mine. So, and GB, you were teeing it up as if like, I think he deserves a title shot for the main title. And I agree with that as well. And so I don't see why he wouldn't deserve a shot at the legacy title as well. So
for sure,
we'll see what the powers that be decide to do here. But
I'll say this: how do you refuse Carly Bravo at this point?
Right.
I mean, how do you refuse him? He's done everything that's been asked of him. He's been winning and winning and winning. And now he's proven that he can do it on his own without the help of Dishonor or any other entity at this point. Why is this man not the front runner to be the legacy champion?
Well, and we said
he's backed down from no one.
Yeah.
No one. Even Judas walked straight up to him and got in his face outside the ring, which is very dangerous.
And I love Carly, but I still don't know how smart that was. But I will say this. We said this at SHW48. He won that match because he walked up to Judas. Judas got Corey Hollis disqualified, giving Carly the win. And right after that, he walked right up to the table. And I don't know if this made this on the video, but he says to us, and I forget the number, but he's like, how many former SHW champs do I have to beat?
7.
Yeah. And that alone right there, he's beaten how many? And yeah, he hadn't had a title shot yet. So legacy title, I think it's got Carly's name on it. Just saying. Anyways, speaking of titles, that brings us to our big main event, SHW title match, Corey Hollis, Gunnar Miller. And man, oh man. So earlier in the night, we talked about opening the show, Corey specifically telling Judas, stay in the back. I don't need your help. And then we hear Judas saying, yeah, bro, I got your back. It's like, no, stay in the back. But then GB, you pointed out, Corey also said, I'll do whatever it takes to win this match. So I'm conflicted here. We were conflicted. What exactly is he going to do? I will say they did go toe-to-toe. Pretty even match when it was just them one-on-one. Of course, Gunnar ends up retaining. Judas did eventually make his way out there. And here's where it threw everybody off, because we figured Judas was going to come after Gunnar Miller, and he had the spike in his hand. But instead, he goes after Corey. Corey's trying to stop him. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Judas spikes Corey. Corey's busted open, bleeding everywhere. The locker room clears out. The officials from the back clear out, trying to get Judas away, trying to get the spike away. It was chaos. I didn't know what to make of it. I still don't know what to make of it. What does this mean for next month?
I'm clueless. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Corey was crawling up Judas's leg to his waist. It was almost like a kid was climbing on the big tall dad and, begging him to do something, or like holding on to his arm and everything. And it was like Judas like, whatever, get off me. And just blood everywhere, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I didn't expect that. Jaw to the floor.
Well, you know what else happened in GB? You might be about to say this, so I'll let you get it. But the title belt was right there, and Judas clearly had his eyes on it.
He certainly did. And, the story continues to unravel. I honestly, just kind of replaying the moment in my head, I feel like it was more of an impulsive moment than a planned moment, because it seemed very, very clear that Judas was behind Corey the entire time, wanted Corey to do his thing. But, you can only continue to make so many advances and get rejected before you finally say, I've had enough. Sure. And if we actually think about it, Judas has never really made a full-on effort one-on-one for the SHW championship. The closest he got to it was this triple threat when Owen was champion, and he
didn't care about it.
Right. He was too preoccupied with Cyrus at the moment. Corey Hollis has always been in the way of Judas. And Judas has never really pursued that championship because he always preferred Corey. And so, if you're going to say you don't need my help anymore, if every advance I make towards you, you reject it, well, then it's a no for me, dog. So at this point, I don't know where we go from here, but it's clear Judas wants to be champion and doesn't feel like he needs Corey in his life anymore.
Yeah.
So what happens if he gets that opportunity finally? Because I do believe that eventually Judas will have to get an opportunity. He will deserve that. The crazy as he is, the things that he's done, he deserves that. And then what? Do we bring Cyrus back because he's the only one that's beat Judas?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? We say this every month. We leave with more questions than answers. I feel like we got a few little answers here and there, but then we got more questions.
And that's why
So-
we're so good.
There's
Ugh.
only one
is.
way to find out what happens next, and that's to join us May 12th for our huge milestone event, SHW 50. Of course, we'll have more episodes of this show before we get to May 12th, but just go ahead and put it on your calendar. Prepare, set that night aside. It's going to be a big Friday night. Bring the whole family. Let's pack the Action Building. In fact, the May show, it was May of 2019 when we put over 1,000 people in the Action Building. So here we are 4 years later. Let's see if we can do it again. Why not? You know, and what other kind of big show is there going to be to put 1,000 people in than the 50th show? SHW 50. It's going to be massive. Let's blow the roof off the Action Building. I can't wait. But like I said, we have more episodes of this show before we get to that show. And follow us on social media as you see all the match announcements and all the other good stuff leading up to that night. But it's going to be awesome. SHW49 was a great show, a great return for us after 2 months off. So yes, like I said, as soon as that hits IWTV, make sure you give it a watch. And yeah, props to Jake the Snake Roberts for a heck of a first outing as our new matchmaker. And I can't wait to see what else he has.
We forgot the whole daycare call thing that happened. Do you remember? We had another Skype call from the daycare.
I was going to just leave that out.
You gonna skip it?
I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want to give them any kind of. Any kind of attention.
There was just a lot of whining. I didn't understand anything they said.
Well, what I do know, by the way, we're talking about exotic puke, but they also Skyped in. They were upset because I feel like Jake the Snake Roberts there's a conspiracy out against them, because if you happen to catch AEW Dark a couple of weeks ago, you actually see Jake the Snake lay out this punk right here.
The frat boy.
Yeah. And it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. But anyways, yeah, I was just going to kind of ignore that and not even bring it up. But since you brought it up, I don't know what their point of them calling in was, other than to just gripe and cry and moan that, oh, it's a conspiracy against us.
That's all I heard was wah, wah, wah.
So I don't know if that means they're going to show up at SHW 50. I don't know. All I do know is they weren't there at SHW 49, and it was great. So we'll see what happens. Who knows?
It was great. It really was.
But hey, you know what? We'll be back next week, and we'll talk to you again. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Yeah, it is.
Damn.